AI will take your job, but it'll give you a better one. And I don't remember who said that first, but that's a quote that's out there that actually makes a lot of sense. Today, we're going to talk about how anyone in any role can see what can be automated in their work so they can spend more time on the important things. And here to walk us through it today is Impact's AI expert, Briana Walgenbach. How's it going, Briana?
Hey, Austin, it's going good. How's your day going?
Oh, going great. Even better now that we're talking with you. But before we kind of get into today's video, can you break down a little bit for us why we should see AI as an assistant more than we should see it as a threat to our jobs?
Yes, that is a great way to phrase that question. And I feel like that is the question that your average marketer today is asking themselves. And full disclosure, I'm 34, not old, not super duper young. But as I get older, this memory starts getting a little less skilled in terms of what I can remember and call back to. Okay, there's a reason why I'm sharing that with you, because we as humans, regardless of how smart we think we are, what age we are limited with how much our brains can hold from a capacity level, right? And some of us are really excellent at just recalling facts and spitting them out. And some people, like me, if I don't write it down, chances are I might forget it. And I know that about myself. So if what I just said sounds like you, that you can't remember stuff, you're probably already excited about AI. But that switch in thinking of, is this a threat? Do I need to be worried about my job? Do I need to be worried about other things? There definitely is caution that we want to take. I just want to be super clear there. It's not all positives. There's a lot of things we want to be cautious of. But in terms of, is this an assistant or should I be looking at this as a threat? The way I like to think about it, Austin, is I've only got so much space up here. I am one person. I can't remember everything and do all the tasks at all the time and do it all efficiently and correctly. So can I use AI to help enhance what I'm already doing well? Not necessarily replace me, right? There are some things that I may find like, oh, actually, this does make sense for AI to do that. Brianna's eyes don't need to be the eyes that's on this. But can this assist what I'm doing versus viewing this as, is this going to be taking my job? What are the opportunities that can be uncovered by utilizing AI in your day to day?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense the way you worded that. So if I'm taking that approach, what are some ways I can figure out the things in my job that can be automated?
Yeah. And that's honestly, I feel like the golden question that everyone's asking, because we all hear about AI and we know we should be doing things, but what are the things? Like, what are the things that I should be doing, right? And how do I know I'm, headed in the right direction? So the recommendation I personally give everybody that I can talk to is to do a personal audit. And what I mean by that is, if I use you and I as an example, right, as the AI expert and content trainer, my day-to-day is very different than your day-to-day as our videographer, right? And so if I were to say, take an audit of your roles, your duties, responsibilities, I probably would miss a lot of them, right? There's probably a ton of stuff that you do that I'm not even aware of, right? So that's why it's so important that we do this for our own role. Because if I think about my day-to-day, I know my day-to-day because I live it day-to-day, right? So if you take a look at what your role is within your organization, even if you have multiple roles, that's fine. Do this multiple times. What is everything you actually do in that role, right? If you're a content manager, you got your keyword research, you got your revenue team meetings, you got your content brainstorms, you got drafting, you've got SME interviews. Get all those listed out and exhaust it. Go through the list, take a mental break, maybe come back to that list the next day so it's a little fresher in your mind. You make sure you haven't forgotten anything. And once we get that list, then this is where it gets kind of fun, because we get to essentially audit what we do, which is not something that your average employee gets to do for their own role. Typically, that happens by someone who manages you, right? So if we take a look at what we do, then the first thing we want to look at is what for sure has to be done by me, right? Like, what needs my human eyes on it for this to be accurately completed? And let's mark all of those. Now from there, how truthful are we there? I know it seems a little odd, but are we letting our ego get in the way of what we feel we need to have our eyes on? Or do our eyes actually not need to be on it? So there is a little bit of ego and control that you're going to have to throw out the window if that's something that you struggle with. You're going to have to be honest with yourself first. And then, based on what we have left on our list that doesn't necessarily have to physically be done by you, then the question is, can AI help? Because depending on what that task is, it may be very obvious that like, yeah, this thing can be automated, or yes, I can use AI here. But we may have things on our list that we're thinking like, man, I don't even know how I would look into AI, around, that certain task. And so that is where future casting and time blocking comes in. So what we strongly recommend, and this requires full buy-in from your organization, is that you block off a minimum of 1 hour a week, like get in your calendar and put it on your calendar through the rest of the quarter, heck, through the rest of the year. But make sure that time is truly uninterrupted. So like put your phone in the other room, turn off Slack, actually turn the stuff off and have some uninterrupted time so you can put your researcher hat on and say, all right, I know this task does not need my eyes on it. Let me start to actually do some real research and see what I can find that could support me with that task as it relates to AI. So I've got an example for you, Austin.
Awesome.
If I were, say, a content manager and I was going through my auditing list, keyword research would be one of those things on there. And for any content managers listening, it's very easy to let keyword research become more time consuming than it needs to be, right? We see one thing that sparks an idea that leads us down another rabbit hole, and it's really easy to let that time become longer and for us to feel like that was a good use of my time. But the question we want to ask is, was it? Did it actually need to be, say, a full hour or whatever time you typically use for it? So I want to show you just a quick little hack that can be used on the free version of ChatGPT, which I feel so good saying because just about everything today has to be on the paid version. So if you don't have a paid version, you can do this with ChatGPT. And so this isn't to fully replace keyword research, but I'm going to be able to do this in just a few short minutes.
Wow.
And if you're someone who does keyword research, I want you to see if you can quantify how much time you actually spend and see if you could implement this and how might that give you time back in your day. But what are you going to do with that time? That gets even more fun to talk about. So what I want to walk through is some light keyword research with the free version of ChatGPT, as well as the Keywords Everywhere plugin. Now, you don't actually have to have the paid version of this plugin, which also is kind of cool. So everything that I'm showing you is free.
Awesome.
There is one little benefit that if you do have the paid version, you can see something a little bit deeper. So I'll dive into that too. But if I remember, Keywords Everywhere is like $1 and like 70 some cents a month. So
not
bad
bad
gonna
at
break
all.
the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like $15 for the whole year. So real cheap.
Could be a lot worse. Yeah.
Could be a lot worse, definitely. All right. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is obviously pull up your ChatGPT and make sure you've downloaded the Keywords Everywhere Chrome extension or whatever extension, depending on what platform and what services you're on. You'll know that you have it added when this, actually, let me just move this. Once this pops up on your screen.
Okay. And that's from the Google Chrome extension store, not within ChatGPT, right?
When you're going to find this plugin or this extension to add, what you want to avoid doing is going to ChatGPT first. There's a lot to see in terms of custom GPTs and different add-ons. And there are a few things in there that look very similar to what this is. And I could see a lot of people thinking, oh, I found it. But instead, what you want to do is you want to go to keywordseverywhere.com and download that extension first. And then you'll be able to pull up your ChatGPT, regardless of if it's the free version or the paid version. You'll know you have this added because you'll have this little please continue up in the right-hand corner. Another way to know that you'll have it added is it is down here, right near wherever your name is. You should have something with a K that says templates. And so I'm going to click that because I am interested in seeing what can I get in the way of keyword research here that is inexpensive and fast. And number one, accurate. So let's say I want to get into my keyword research. The first filter I'm going to select is SEO. You can see there's a ton others here. Good stuff to play around with. Selecting a subcategory, I am going to select keyword research. However, local SEO, on-page optimization, e-commerce SEO, worth diving into. They've got some good stuff in there. So for today, obviously keyword research. And then they'll give you a lot of, again, more options to go through. So they're not short on options, which is fantastic. For today, let's do the related keyword generator. So you'll see that it actually just pulls up a prompt of or just already created prompt for you. And there's nothing that you want to do to this. When we put in our actual keyword, you'll notice that it will auto update this prompt to have your keyword in there. So let's say that the keyword or keyword phrase that I'm looking for my organization's website to rank for is kitchen renovations. Okay. It will auto generate 40. That's a lot. I like to change it to 10. Obviously, that's preference. But that's it. Like all I did was I selected the actual categories that I wanted to be working with, and then I typed in my actual term. Now, if you work for a company that you also create, say, Spanish content, I know we have a few clients who do that, you can go ahead and change this, and they've got a ton of languages to work with. Now, I don't speak Spanish, so I can't speak to the accuracy, but that would be worthwhile to check out.
That's super cool.
So let's go ahead and click execute, give it just a hair here. Now, all of this, you'll see that it's only giving us search intent right now, right? So what I typed in was kitchen renovations. So this is related keywords. Notice that none of these is exactly kitchen renovations, but they all can relate back to that core keyword phrase of kitchen renovations, right? So as I'm mapping and planning for my content strategy, I might use this when I'm thinking, how am I going to get my site, my blog, my learning center to rank for a certain keyword? Are there related keywords that would be beneficial to also write on to start building some authority and some trust around that, keyword that you originally put in? The one thing I will say that I think they have a way to go is it would be awesome if they had the keyword volume in here and the keyword difficulty in here. There is a way to find that. And you can, if you have keywords everywhere and you've paid the whopping like $1.75 a month, it will show up just straight away on your search. So I just typed in kitchen renovations and I've got all of my keyword research data that I would typically pull from SEMrush or Ahrefs. I've got the volume right here. I've got the clicks here. I've got everything that I need in terms of what I would look for search volume. And you can export this and then just copy and paste it. Whoops. Let me redo that. You can export this and click copy, and then you should be able to just paste that right into your own Google Sheet. So if I'm being honest, Austin, for me to pull all of these numbers, and if you look, it goes through the whole year of 2023. Wow. This would take me a really, really long time to, number one, figure out what are the related keywords. Number one, that in itself is a big task. It's time consuming and it can get really tedious. And then from there, once I figure out what those keywords are, I would have to go one by one through each of these and then pull up every single month. And can you imagine? I mean, we're talking about at least an hour here. And how long have we done this? Have it been like 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'll pay $1.99 for that.
Right. I'll pay $1 for that. Exactly. So even just in terms of the time constraint, that's a big win in my book, but the accuracy is quite nice as well. And when you do have keywords everywhere that you've paid for, it is really robust, if you will, to say, I've got this here and I can cross and check it over with the actual volume here.
In Google,
So
yeah.
this isn't to say like it's going to completely replace all of your efforts with keyword research, but those beginning stages don't need to take as long as they do. So this is just one area that through your weekly time blocking, having that experiment time, that you could say, hey, keyword research, that is something I do. Do my eyes need to be the eyes that find everything? Absolutely not, right? Enough of that tedious work. Let AI give you the info you need so that you can use your human mind to put the strategy behind it.
That's awesome. And it sounds like a lot of these things that can be automated, at least from that example, are things that are tedious. You're like punching in numbers, that sort of thing. And when you're able to automate those, you can take that time that you were supposed to be doing that, or you don't have to do that anymore, and put it into the things you actually enjoy doing. I'm sure there are some people who enjoy that, but if you don't, that's a great way to do that.
That is. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things that can be, in a sense, automated that it doesn't dawn on us right away. Another example for a content manager would be recording all of your conversations that you have around the topic you're writing on. When we have platforms like Fireflies or Otter that can actually record it and transcribe it, it will clock your meeting notes for you. It can also put things into an outline for you just based on that transcription. I mean, man, to have a content interview and then not have a bunch of tedious work to follow said content interview, but be able to just dive into the writing side of things, I feel like that is every content writer's dream.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds
Absolutely.
like the key here is you have to break out those tasks, like you said, in that actionable first section. And then maybe you don't know, like I had never heard of the keywords everywhere tool till you had talked to me about it the other day. But if I didn't have you to give me that information, like you said, putting that time in your calendar to just look up different tools and see if you can do free trials, that sort of thing, to see which might work for you in your role or your company.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? So until you deliberately block out that time to start learning a little bit more about how AI can enhance you as a human for your role, when else are you going to do it if you don't set aside that time?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Well, thanks, Briana. Thanks for sharing that with us today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Awesome. You're so welcome. This is a lot of fun.
Don't be scared to use AI to your advantage, because the businesses that don't, they might get left behind. If you and your business need some guidance on how to maximize the advantages of AI, contact us at impactplus.com today.